Hello, good evening, all. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Can you
Good
hear me?
evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are we doing today?
Very well.
Yeah, we're
Fine,
all
thank
welcome.
you.
Yes. I think I can hear Moji's voice.
Yes, you can.
Yeah,
Hi.
very- Good evening. Okay, really, we're meant to start now. So, we'll start by taking introduction, just general talk by Moji. Then, Chidiogo will have your say too. Before, I don't know, let me check if our guest is here. Check if she's in already.
She's here. She's here.
I'm here.
Okay, she's in. All right. Okay, so let's quickly get on it. Thank you everyone for joining in. And Moji, over to you. Let's take the introductory message.
All right. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to be here again after a long while. I was actually a bit sick, so but it's good to be back, you know. And it's good to be back and strong, basically strong and back. Um, Today I'm not going to say so much because we have so much already in our plate. We have Beryl. I hope I pronounced that well. She's
Yes, that's
from
correct.
yes, so she's from Global AI Hub, and she'll be introducing us to. She'll be talking about our collaboration, or rather, Global AI Hub's collaboration with everything on data and what they have um what they envision for us basically. So and how we can become part of this vision. I think with that, then the next on the outline, as I can see here, is the GitHub training. This is a very, very fantastic training. So I would like us to take everything in as it comes and we close. All right. Without much ado, I will just hand over to Beryl. Beryl, this is the community, everything on data community. We have over 220 members. However, some of us will still join. This session is recorded. Some were not able to make it to online, but thank you for making it here. So that means we're going to still post the video to all those that won't be around so that they can also join the community group for the Global AI Up. So thank you very much. And I think I will hand over to you right now to take over.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I hope you can hear me. Do I have permission to share my screen?
Yeah, sure, you can. You can.
Okay, just a second. Okay. I can't really share my screen. So is it okay if I just leave and come back in just a second?
All right, very yes. Yes.
I'll be back in a second.
Okay.
Okay, I think I'm back. Thank you for waiting. Sorry, there was a problem with my screen sharing.
Are you okay now?
Yes. So, sorry. We don't use Microsoft Teams that much, so can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
But you can only see the see you. So okay, this is okay, I think. Can you see Google Chrome right now?
Yes, it's fine now.
Okay. So sorry about these complications. I am now sharing a presentation. Can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. So hi, I'm Beril and I am a growth specialist at Global AI Hub. Thank you so much for having me today. It's so nice to meet you all and start a great collaboration with your community. So I want to talk about who we are as Global AI Hub, introduce you to our platform, how you can use it, and talk about the 10 million AI project. So who we are and why you should join. So as Global AI Hub, we are the leading community for artificial intelligence, connecting hundreds of thousands of experts and talents worldwide. We have world-class learning programs on AI, data, robotics, and digitalization. We have a unique guidance and mentoring for personal career development program, which is the correlation program, which you can also find on our website and look at the details. It's more of a personal membership where you can join and connect with many people who are interested in AI and data and connect with them through Discord, have a network there. And also there are some exclusive events for our core members. If you want to apply to that, you can also check it out from our platform. We have hubs where you can expand your network and learn from others and connect with people around the world. We have different hubs for different countries and different specialization areas, like for machine learning, RPA. And we have recommended learning paths and practical project work and skill assessments to build your required skills and experiences for the most promising job profiles of the future. And you can improve your CV. As Global AI Hub, we are the initiator of the 10 Million AI Project. That is a nonprofit sustainable to social good project, which aims to educate 10 million people on AI, data, robotics, and digitalization completely for free. We have special emphasis on women to foster diversity and gender equality and just equality all around the world. We have free first class education provided as part of the national education campaigns. With collaborating with your community, what we aim is to reach more people essentially who can benefit from the free courses we offer on our platform. We can reach so many people just as Global AI Hub, but when we collaborate with different communities, different people with our core members, we can expand a lot more and reach more people to get this goal of educating 10 million people. So now let me take you to our platform. So this is what you see when you first enter to our platform. After you register, you firstly enter to your page, which differs from country to country. Since you log in from Nigeria, there's a different hubs and different stuff on there. But when you click on education, you can see all of the courses we have here. And within the scope of the 10 Million AI project, thanks to our supporters, we can offer you some free courses. The free courses we have active right now are the Introduction to AI, Robotics and Data, Hyperautomation for Everyone, and Introduction to Python course, which is a brand new course. We just published it, and it's a great course. These machine learning, all these courses you see here about deep learning, data visualization, they are under production right now. We sometimes do live courses, and we sometimes give these courses as live courses. We promote these courses, these 3 courses, in within the scope of the 10 Million AI project. But if you like to check out the premium courses we have, you can check them out as well. There's also a hub point system where you can finish courses, gain hub points, and take those premium courses with your hub points as well. For example, when you take the Python course here, there are special hubs for every course. For example, when you start taking the Introduction to Python course, there is a course hub right here where it will take you to a special hub for just the Introduction to Python class. It's a new course, so it's pretty empty right now. And if you have any questions or anything to share about this Introduction to Python course, you can share it on here. And here, our AI specialists will answer your questions, which is a great system. They're very fast about answering the questions. The same goes for all the courses we have here. There are also career development and business learning paths. You can check these out if you'd like to. These are some premium courses as well. We have community, which we have, like I mentioned, different hubs here. We have business hubs, different areas of technology used in business. And we have technology hubs like RPA, machine and deep learning, Python, AI for beginners. And we have different country hubs. Like I mentioned, when you sign up to our platform, which country you choose, you immediately are registered to that country's hub, and we are producing content on there as well. And like I mentioned, we have the correlation program here. If I can send links through the chat, I don't know if I can, but I can send you the link. And if you'd like to apply to become a core member, you can apply to that as well. And that's pretty much it. I mean, pretty much this is our platform and the community we have. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. So do you have any questions about?
Hello, thanks, bro.
Hello.
Okay, could you, the 10 million AI, I don't know.
Yes.
Can you just do, it's, from what I understand, it's just the other arm promoting the learning of AI by a number of people, right? If I'm correct.
Yes, we are trying to educate 10 million people on AI. Therefore we offer some free courses on our platform, like I showed them. We have 3 right now, and they're pretty basic and great courses. But with collaborating with communities, we also aim to create joint events. For example, we had one of our partners from India, Leading India.ai. We organized a joint webinar together about RPA. So we have goals like that as well, not just taking the courses, but we can organize joint events together to reach more people. That's also an option. Not just the courses, but like we can organize events together with the community partners that we have, like you, with your community. We can plan and organize a webinar or a course. You know, I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. It does. But definitely, we'll get you in on one of our another meeting to maybe take a
Mhm.
webinar together that will make it open, even sometimes beyond the community, to get more people involved. Yes. So we looked
Yes.
to organize something like that in the community, and also to reach out to
Sure.
people outside our community. Okay. Do we have any
Sure.
question? Chidiogo Tosin, do we have any question? Point. Barry, I believe it was quite clear.
Thank you. I hope you got more informed about the community and the platform, and you will benefit from these courses as well as the hubs and the people. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Very. And this is my own page on the Global AI Hub already since the last time we started discussion. I already put
Yes.
everything on board here. So I've gotten some course on. So,
That's great.
So I've created my profile. I've done the introduction. I'm on the introduction to AI and robotics. So I'm encouraging everyone else who push it in the community. Then we'll speak with you when we on the other program of organizing a webinar that will be co-hosted by both Everything on Data community and the
Sure.
Global AI Hub. Yes. Thank you even for coming here and today. Emoji, is there anything
Yeah.
you need to say?
No, not at all. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Thank you on behalf of the Everything on Data community. I say a big thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me and giving us a platform to talk. It was so nice to meet all of you. And if you have any questions, you can contact me from LinkedIn as well.
Sorry, Barry. Someone is raising up. Olatunde, I think I saw your hand up.
Excuse me?
Olatunde. Someone raised his hand on this meeting. Olatunde. Okay, maybe it was an error, but thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
See
thank you very
soon.
Very.
Not
Thank
a
you.
problem. Thank you.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Okay. Yeah, they are inside their assignments. Yes. This meeting day now. Take on that. Go. Take on that.
Miss, I can't hear from my end.
Same here.
Oh,
Yeah,
can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
but I can hear. Thank you.
Okay, I think my mic was muted. All right. I said there are various learning paths that we can take advantage of. They have the business learning part, which has the business analyst certificate in banking, insurance, retail, and life insurance. So you might wonder, you've not even finished digesting what's it called? Extra price DNA, and this is another one again. But really, these are totally this is a different line entirely. This talking about AI, looking at AI in its perspective. But yeah, so they're interwoven, but really it's good to know that you have something that you can learn from. We will share the link on our group, on our WhatsApp group for us to register and under our community registration. So they will be able to monitor and also follow up with people. So thank you all. We'll go straight to our next training, which is on Git and Github. We sent a link, Dara sent a message yesterday on things we need to do to be able to follow with the training that we'll be doing today. I hope we've done that. If we've not, we can go back to our WhatsApp. Then I can even drop it on our chat. Tunji, are you ready for us?
Yes, I'm
All right.
ready.
Let me bring down my screen. Over to you. Thank you. Dineto, your hand is up. And Kewe, your hand is up as well. Do you have any question?
Oh, sorry, you've already answered my question. I was going to ask questions about registration and links. You've done that already.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Tunji Iribi, and I'm happy to be here. I want to thank the leadership of the community for giving me this opportunity to add this little contribution back to the community that has impacted my life in various ways. So this evening we'll be learning introduction to Git and GitHub. It's going to be, we should try and make it interactive, and I'll try as much as possible to pour out as much as I can. And it's going to be practical as well. That's why the instructions were sent out earlier so that we have the Git installed and we have our GitHub account created. I'm going to bring up a terminal. I hope, can anybody see this terminal? The command terminal.
Not yet.
No,
Not yet.
Not yet.
I need to share my screen again.
Okay, you can see now.
Okay, so
Yes,
you can, if you can run that command on your terminal, git double-version, and then you should get that response. It's the version of Git you have installed, and that should.
Okay, let's assume that people don't know if we even get to their command prompt.
Okay. Sorry. Let me. I will share my entire screen so you can run that form. Okay. So you can see my screen now.
Yes, you can.
So you can easily press the Windows key and R together, and you have this run comes up, and you just type in CMD. That's one way. Or you go to your stats and you type CMD as well, and you have this. So I usually like to run it as administrator so that I don't have any issues with access. You can type the command again. I just want us to clear this out before we continue. So if anyone has done this successfully, you can just maybe in the chat box or something.
Is it the same for Mac?
Okay, so sorry, I'm using a Windows box and I've never used a Mac before. So I think the command works for Mac as well. I don't know how to get to your terminal on Mac, but if you run that same command, it should work on Mac.
Okay.
Sorry, please, can you take that again?
Okay, so
that the run.
So on your machine, just press the Windows key and R together, and you have this come up. I can type CMD. That's one way. Another way is to go to your start menu and type CMD, and then so I'll just give like 2 more minutes, then we can start the class proper.
Please, did you say we should type CMB? I didn't get that.
Okay, so I want us to open a command prompt. If you're using a Windows command prompt and just type this command. This command in your command prompt, and let's see what you should get. This response. This is telling you the version of Git that you have installed, and this will confirm. This will confirm that you have Git installed on your machine. So let's do that in the next 2 minutes, and then we can start the class proper. Because I want everyone to participate in the hands-on session. So it will be good if majority of us, though we'll have the recording, but it will be good if you can participate in the class as well.
Okay, I got Git version 2.35.1 Windows 0.2.
Okay, that's good. So probably you have a newer version. So that's good. It doesn't really matter the version you have, or the commands will work. Okay, so I'll reshare my screen so we can proceed with the class. This time is running out. Okay, so can I just confirm that you can see my screen and you can hear me well?
Yes.
Okay.
See your screen.
Okay.
Yes.
So what we'll be looking at today, we'll be looking at what is a version control. We'll be learning what Git is, what GitHub is. We'll look at concepts. We'll learn how Git works, what you can do on Git and what you can do on GitHub. Then we'll also learn Markdown. So Markdown, it's a syntax that we use to beautify our GitHub repository. So when you do a project, I'm sure everybody here have passed through the Power BI data analysis training of everything on data, and you must have done one or two projects along the line. And everyone here as well should have passed the SQL training certification. And last week we had SQL training. So we should have done things around those areas. So how do you push those work that you've done? How do you check them into your system and push them into GitHub for the world to see, showcase your skills, what you've done and all that? So that's what we'll be doing with Markdown to beautify the GitHub, our GitHub page, and explain what our project is doing and all that. Then I'll also share one or two resources, cheat sheets, and some links that we can use to further our reading on Git and GitHub, because it's quite a very large course, and you can do so many things with it. And then lastly, we'll do a demo on how to the things we work on, we'll push them to GitHub and then use Markdown to do some write-up on the file there, so that we can explain what our project is doing proper to the world. So just a minute, please. I need to reshare my screen again. Okay, so we are starting with version control. So I want us to just, in our various fields, some of us are developers, some of us are data analysts, accountants, business analysts, all sorts of things that we do. And you have a file that you are working on, and then you make some changes to the file. Probably you share it with someone, and the person makes some changes to the file. Maybe after a month or so, you are asked for some information that was on that file last month, but it's no more as at today. You can't do control. You can't undo your changes anymore, because you've done so many saves and all that along the line. So that's where Git comes in. So Git can help you go back in time. That's why this scenario is that your program is working, you change just one thing, your program breaks. You change it back, your program is still broken. So this happens most times to the software developers, the programmers. You know, they write something and then the next day it doesn't work again. They add a feature, it doesn't work again. That feature they added has broken something else somewhere, it doesn't work again, and all that. So if you don't have your files managed by Git for you, you end up having to rewrite most of the things. But with Git, you can go back in time and see the difference between yesterday's file and today's file, and you can use that to detect where the error is coming from. So a version control system is a system that records changes to a file or set of files over time so that you can recall specific versions later. We can look at the project history and see who has made changes. The version control system keeps multiple versions of everything. So not just source code, because people may think that Git is for developers only. So I mean anything, and we'll put it in practice today to see that it's actually anything. So it doesn't have to be for programmers alone. Anybody can actually use it. So with a version control system, you can revert your file to an earlier version. Without this, you store various versions of your code or files in various folders. So what most people do is to have various folders and store various things in different folders, say version 1 folder, version 2 folder, version 3 folder, and it can get messed up and a little bit untidy. Just imagine you leave the organization and then someone else comes in. It's going to be very untidy. A way for that person to look for older things and all that. So with a version control, you can track history and then you can collaborate, which is very important. So you can actually work with other people from different places. You don't have to even be in the same location. With the power of Git, you can work with other people and work on the same documents, work on different parts of it, and merge everything together. So we have different types of version control system. We have the local, we have the centralized, and we have the distributed version control. So Git that we are learning today, it falls under the distributed version control. There's some benefits of version control. It gives you a time machine. It feels like a time machine. You can go back in time, go back to the future, go back to the past, and all that, just to see what has happened along the line. Then it gives you great support for different versions of the same basic project. Then if you're working by yourself, it greatly simplifies concurrent work, margin changes. Sorry, this is supposed to be working as a team. So if you're working as a team, you can work together and you can merge your changes. And it does not allow overwriting each other's changes. So Git is a free and open source distributed version control system. It's designed to handle everything from small to very large projects with speed and efficiency. While GitHub is web-based Git repository hosting service, which offers all the distributed revision control and source code management functionality of Git, as well as adding its own features. So I expect that we all should have created our GitHub account and generate the personal GitHub token, because I think GitHub made some changes recently to their system. So if you are trying to push your work to GitHub, it doesn't ask you for your password again, rather it asks you for the token, which is more secure than just the password. So Git is a fast, scalable, distributed version control system that tracks changes to computer files and coordinates work on those files among multiple people. It's primarily used for software development, but it can be used to keep track of changes in any file. Git repository maintains information about the changes made in a file, who made the changes, at what time changes were made, notes and comments about the changes made. So if you're making a change and you want to commit that change, you can actually put a comment there so that when somebody else comes to look at the history, for instance, you are designing let's say you're working on an SQL query like we did last week, and you are told to generate a report of your customers, and you did that, and then your boss comes and says, okay, we want this query along with the customer details. You should also tell us how much each customer has spent on our store in the last 3 months. So you add that to the query as well. So once you are committing that change, you can actually put a comment that, okay, we added additional column to show total amount spent and all that. So when someone else comes and look at the history of that file, you can actually see that, okay, at so time, so person modify the file to add total amount spent. Because in our day-to-day work, I've seen instances where someone changed the file, an SQL script, and then somebody is complaining that the report is no longer coming out the way it should. It used to come out. And then you check and you don't really see anything. And you say, okay, this is what I have here. So because that file is not, that query was not stored in Git, there's no way you can even go back in time to even ascertain what happened. So but with Git, you can go back in time, you can check the history, like a log. You can check the history of the file and see all the changes that happened in the past and all the comments that added to it. So Git is for people who want to maintain multiple versions of their files in an efficient manner and travel back in time to visit different versions without juggling numerous files along with their confusing names stored at different locations. So we can just have one file to get customer details, and that file must have been changed like 100 times. So you don't have to create different files. So okay, get customer details and total amount spent. Another file again, you can say get customer details, total amount spent, and number of times visited shop, and all that. So you just have one file. You must have changed it 1,000 times, but you can always go back in time to use any version of that file. So that's Git for you. So GitHub is a web hosting service for source code of software and web development or other text-based projects that use Git. In many cases, most of the code is publicly available, enabling developers to easily navigate, collaborate, download, use, improve, and remix that code. The container for the code of a specific project is called a repository. So that word will be coming on us as much as during this class. Repository, be hearing that word. So what they're trying to tell us here is you can collaborate with a lot of people to do your work, and you can make your work available to the public. So if you do an analysis of, say, a sales analysis of a store or something, you can actually publish that work in the public space and make it available for people, because somebody might be looking for maybe a newbie, someone that just started data analysis, and the person is a bit confused. He goes to Google and say, oh, how can I do a sales analysis? And then your GitHub repository will pop up, and the person goes there and says, oh, this person has done this before, and it's even for free. So you can actually the person can actually download your code, but the way it works is your code will still be referenced. Your name will still be referenced somehow in that person's copy of the code. So that will give exposure to you, to the whole world. So somebody in another continent can try to download your source code and use for something because you made it available for the whole world. So somebody can download it. And from there, a lot of things can happen from there. I mean, you can make new friends, you can get new opportunities and all that. So it's always good to some things make them free and available for people to use, because I mean, we go to Google to copy a lot of things. So why can't we do the same back to the community? So we are going to concepts, and then we'll start commands where we'll be doing a lot of practical work. So these are just some terms that you hear. And the first one there is snapshot. So once you say this file, I want this file to be managed by Git. So what Git does is to create a snapshot of that file. Like take a picture of that file. That's the state at which the file is at that point in time, and stores it somewhere else, apart from the working directory. Stores it somewhere else. So the way Git keeps track of your code history, essentially, it essentially records what all your files look like at a given point in time. You decide when to take a snapshot and of what file. So you can have 10 files in your directory, but you want to add just 2. You want to Git to manage just 2 for you. So you can actually tell Git, okay, add these 2 files, take a snapshot of them and add it to the staging area. So it takes a snapshot of those two files and keeps it somewhere. Then there's another word called commit. So it captures a snapshot of the project's currently staged changes. So once you make changes to your file and you take a snapshot of it and you say commit, it will capture all the changes that you've made at that point in time. Then repositories, sometimes we call this repo. It is a collection of all the files and the history of those files. This is where all your commits are stored. So whenever you do a commit, you are going into a repository. It can be on your local machine or a remote server, which is GitHub. So you can have it stored on your machine, and after a while, push it to your GitHub. So the act of copying a remote repository into your machine is called cloning. I think I mentioned this earlier, that you have your work in GitHub and you set it as public, and somebody else likes your work and wants to use it. So the person will clone that your work. Now, downloading commits that don't exist on your machine from a remote server is called pooling. So you might decide to share your work with someone else and ask the person to, maybe you are battling with something, an error you're not sure of, and someone in America helps you out, and you give the person permission to save the changes into your GitHub account. You can actually pull that change onto your local copy of this on your computer. So that act is called pooling. And then you can make changes on your local computer. Probably you are not online. Maybe you do some work on your computer, and then when you have internet access the next day, you actually push those changes to your GitHub account. So it's vice versa. You can push online or you can pull online. Then we have what we call branches. So all commit, anytime you do a commit, they are saved in a branch. But we can have many branches. But there's always a main branch, which is called the master branch. Let me explain what this means. So you have like two files that you checked in, you committed, and everything goes into your GitHub repository and all that. Okay, you now want one of your staff somewhere else to work on one of those files. You want her or he to make changes to that file, but you don't want them to commit those changes into the main file. So you can tell them, okay, create a branch, and all the changes you make, commit it to that branch. So the main branch, which is the master branch, is still intact the way you saved it. Then you can now come over as the supervisor and review those changes that that person has made in that second branch. And once you are sure, you can say, okay, go back and correct this and check in again. Person will go back and make those corrections and commit again. Then once you are sure, you can now merge. You can now merge these two. You can now add what she has made into your own main branch, the master branch, and then you have one copy. So this is very useful when you are developing a software. For the developers, you understand very well. So you can have like 4 or 5 developers working from different continents on the same project. So they can work on different parts of the project, and then the team lead will ask them to save their work in different branches for him to review. So once he's done reviewing, you can now merge. I'll show you some of this in Visual Studio. So, and Git is not just available through the terminal or the command line. I mean, there are tools, there are IDEs, integrated development environments that support Git very well. I use Visual Studio very well, so I must confess, what I'm teaching you today, I've not even done it for a very long time because it has all those functionalities there for me to just click, and it checks, it commits the code, I push to the remote server, I pull changes made by other people. I can create a branch without writing any command. It has that already there. And there's another tool called Visual Studio Code. It also has that. Those are the tools I'm familiar with, but I'm very sure that other tools as well have those plugins or add-ons on them. So don't be scared when we start writing this command. It's good for you to know these commands just in case you find yourself, like you find yourself in an interview now, and they say, okay, part of the requirement is knowledge of Git, and they give you Visual Studio Code, for instance. On your own copy that on your system, you have the Git plugin, so it's easy for you to push your code, pull your code, do your commit and all that. But in the interview session, they gave you a clean laptop and a Visual Studio Code that doesn't have Git as an add-on, and you are asked to, because you have told them that you have knowledge of Git. So how do you prove yourself when you get to that point? That's why you need to know the commands. Even eventually, you may not use them because you may use a tool that has those functionalities, but it's good to know those commands. I mean, I found myself in a scenario like that like 2 weeks ago, and I had to do what I have to do. So it's good to know the commands. So let's proceed. I believe we've all set up Git. If not everyone, I mean, most people have set up Git. And there are many ways you can use this Git. You know, as I've mentioned, command line, and then we have GUIs as well. I think I'll share a link where you can download 1 or 2 GUIs that also help. So once the Git is installed on your computer, you need to customize the environment. So why do you need to customize the environment? You need to set some settings like the username, so that anything that happens on that system will carry your username, your name as well. You need to set an email. Then you need to set, it's not compulsory, but you can set your default editor. So you can say my default editor is Visual Studio Code, VS Code. I want to use VS Code for my editing. So you can set that up by default. And there's also another setup that is very important. So it's configuring end of lines. So because the way Mac OS and Windows handle end of line is a bit different. I'll show you all these things. It's a bit different. So it's always good to set the end of line so that when you write some code, like you write a Python code and you tell Git to manage that Python code for you. Once Git reads the file to the end of the file, if you have not set this end of line, how it should manage end of line issues, Git might get confused and just handle it anyhow. So it's always good to have those settings done before you start doing all sort of things. So once you do those settings on your system, then you can now start adding files to Git. So then we'll do a demo on Git commands, how to get help, create a working directory where we'll have our files. We'll look at the Git. Sorry, please. We'll look at the Git workflow, how to stage, how to commit, how to remove files, how to ignore files. I'm sure somebody's wondering how to ignore files. You know, you might have a folder with all your files in there, but you have another file that is very large, and you don't want that file to be taken along when you are pushing to GitHub, because once you push very large files, it becomes a problem. Kind of, your GitHub may not load very fast and all that. So, and then how to check status. You know, once you check status of your working directory, Git will tell you, okay, this file has been modified, but has not been committed, and all those things. So then how to view commits. So you want to view all the commits that have been done in the past. We'll also look at that. So we'll go into a demo session. I will reshare my screen so you can have the command line up. Just a minute. So I believe you can see the command line terminal. Hello.
Yes, we can see. We can see.
Yes.
Okay. I hope I'm not too fast, and I hope we are following. I just want to get feedback so that it's not be like I'm just talking.
Okay, do we have any question
Yeah,
regarding what
we're
has been
following.
done so far?
Okay, so I'll proceed. So I want to create a folder where we will be working. So I want us to follow along actually. So I'm going to be a little bit slow here. So I want us to follow along as I am doing. So but let me do it manually so that I don't get people confused. Sorry. Let me reshare it again. Okay, so this is my C drive, and I have a folder called projects. And I'll just create a new folder. I'll say Git. Okay, so this is the folder I'll be working on. Are we following? So I'll copy this. I'll copy this directory address to the folder, and then I'll come back here. So I want to move into that folder now. So that's the way you do that. CD space the path to the folder.
Okay. Sorry, Tuju.
Yes, sir.
For someone that has not created any project so far and want to start, you have a project file.
Yes.
Do we create a folder first?
Yes. So you can create a folder just like I did in your preferred location on your system. So this folder is empty. And if I do this, so the folder is empty. There's nothing in the folder. So let's do git status. So that's the first command we are writing, git status. Sorry, second command. We did git version earlier. So git status should tell you what the status of this folder is. So what it's telling us that no, this is not a Git repository. I don't recognize this as a Git repository. I don't know it as a Git repository. So the first thing to do to make your folder a Git repository is to initialize it. So you say git init, and then you say this. So you can see it says initialized empty Git repository. So I'm going to switch back again and show you the folder, what has happened. Let me see if I can drag it onto the screen, if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it. I just dragged it here. Okay, let me share it. Okay, so I have the folder here now. So you can see, because I said, okay, let me delete this again. Delete this. So the folder is empty. The folder is empty, and so I want you to see it as it happens. So again, I said git status, and it says not a git. So I said I go back and say git init. So you can see it created a file. It's a folder, actually, it's a hidden folder .git. So if I say git status now, I say on branch master, no commits yet, nothing to commit. It's asking me to create or copy files and use git add to track. So now Git recognizes this directory, or let me call it project directory, project folder, as a Git repository now. So let's, I've already done most of these settings, but I'll just go back and do it again. We're going to configure the username. So the command is git config global, sorry, global, and in there. So this is the command. So I actually put the name in quotes because there's a space in between. So it's always good if there's a space in between, like the name of your file, name of your folder, it's always safe to put them in quotes so that it will treat it as one word. So I say enter.
Sorry, I have,
hello, somebody say something.
yes, I have a question. This user, is it dot name or hyphen name?
User dot name.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So I'll do the second one.
Sorry, please. I have a question.
All right.
Yeah. So after putting in the repository address, it showed me the user is not recognized as an internal or external command, operable program or batch file on my CMD.
Okay. So I guess the problem with your own is that you know what we call.
Did you add a
yeah.
CD? Did you add a CD? Change directory before you paste that folder.
Yes, I did.
Okay, because
So,
I had that error initially, and now that the change directory.
Yeah. So I think what you just mentioned now is like that Git, that word Git. The system doesn't recognize that word Git. So there's what we call system variables that you need to add the path to your Git. Can we quickly do that so that we can continue with this other session? Do you know how to go to your system variable, environment variable rather? I don't know who asked the question just now, but
yes,
do you know
yes. No,
can go
no,
to your
I
environment?
don't.
Okay. Can you locate where your Git was installed? Okay, let me just share my screen quickly, because we have a long way to go. Okay, I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
So on this computer, that's this PC, you right click and say properties. And then you go to advanced system properties. So you have environment variables here. Are you following?
Yes, I'm following.
Okay, environment variables, click on it. So you go to the system variables. You see path. I'll just click on it and edit. I'll scroll down a little bit. And you can see this here.
Sorry, I can't see your screen.
Sorry, please, I can't see your screen.
I'm just seeing the arrows move.
Some moving up and down.
Strange. Okay, I'll share my screen again. Can you see it now? What can you see? Hello?
So that's the system, the control system.
Yeah, control panel or control panel items. Yeah, so please, can you start from when you selected the properties?
Hold on. Properties. What can you see now?
Yeah, we can see your file explorer where you have this PC.
Okay. That's not it. Okay, now you can see the all control panel items, right?
Yes.
So you click on advanced system settings.
Okay.
So I have to unshare and share again. I don't know why, but I think that's the only thing I can do for now. Okay, so you can see the system properties, right? Hello?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
So you can click on the environment variables. So once you click on environment variables, you'll see
Sorry, you can't see your screen again. I don't know.
yeah, I'm trying to share that environment variables. It's very difficult to share. I'm trying to share it. I don't know if I can actually share it.
Suji, I don't
Yeah.
think if it's possible for you to just, if it's possible, maybe you can just bring down some things so you can just share your entire system. So we'll just be moving freely. You see
Okay,
what
fine.
you're
That's
saying?
what. Okay, good idea. Good idea. I'll do that now. So. Okay. This is better, I guess.
We can't see our screen yet.
Okay. About now.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, so click on environment variables, and we can see this now, right? The environment variables.
Yes, we can. Sorry, please, on the control panel, you went to system properties, right?
Yes. System properties.
From system security.
No. From here, please. From here. Okay.
Okay.
I clicked on advanced system settings. Then environment variables. So under the system, we have to move fast actually because time is running out and we have a lot to cover. System variables. We scroll down to path and edit. So if you go down, you see I have this here. So I don't know where your Git was installed. My Git was installed in program files. So you have to copy this part as it is. So if you don't have this C program files /git/cmd in your system variables, you have to add it. So you have to say new, and then you put in that part. And you say okay.
So please help me to copy the
I have
part
it already.
again, please.
So this is, you just click here. Click here. And then you copy it. Ctrl C. And then you add it. You paste it there. So I already have mine there. So if you want to run anything you want to access from your command line, you have to have it set up here in your system variables. So I guess that is clear. So we can go back to the class.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So I'll share these commands with us. So if you don't really get a particular command, you can actually skip, because the video will be shared and I'll share the commands with us so that we can really cover a lot. Okay, so I'm setting the email now. That's the next setting I'll do. Let's say attention. The email is set. I want to set my default editor. So you can skip this part if you don't have Visual Studio Code. I will share a link of how you can actually configure other editors. When I get to the tips, I'll share a link of how you can configure other editors. I like to use Visual Studio Code, so I'll be showing you how to set Visual Studio Code as your default editor. But there's a link I'll share that will teach you how to do for other editors like Notepad++, and there's I think there's Vim for the Mac OS guys. I don't want to type in, just call it. So the command for this one is git config global core.editor code -- with. Okay. And then the last thing to edit is the end of line that I mentioned earlier. So core.auto c ls. We set it to true. So I'll also share this too, but this is for Windows. So if you're using a Mac OS, instead of setting to true, you set it to input. I'll share that as well. So we are done with our setup of default settings. So the next command we'll look at as well. Let's even see. So this is like a help for the configurations that we can set. So this is how to get help. So I say git config -h. this will show us the different options we have under Git config and how we can use it. So now that we are in our working directory, let's create a folder. Let's create a folder called, should we call it SQL queries? SQL queries. So we have a folder called SQL queries, and then we'll go into that folder. Okay. And then let's initialize that folder as well. So just a little warning here. So this folder, the .git folder, it's a very important folder, and I don't think we should be messing around with it at all. So we shouldn't bother ourselves going in there. That's where Git stores all the settings and everything it needs to work with. So we shouldn't bother our head what it does. So we should just leave it, because if you tamper with something there and your whole Git settings can get messed up, and then we start to struggle. So let's quickly create a file here, an SQL file. And in that file, we want to write something like select star from sales.customers. So let's say you are asked to get all your customers. So we learned that from last week. So let's start from the table name, which is customers. And then let's save it in a file called get customers. SQL, it's an SQL file. I've opened here, we see that we have the file here already. So if we open the file, we have that in it. So let's go back and do git status again. So you can see what it has here. It says we are on branch master, no commits yet, but we have one file which is on tracked. So the file we created is not yet tracked. We just created it. That's why it's in red. So it's just a file that you can see in our working directory, but it's not being tracked. Let's add another file. Let's add something different. Let's have a text file, and in the text file, we just say hello everyone. And we'll save it in a file called doc.txt. So you see we have doc.txt, the text file. So if we run git status again, so it says we have two files. Let's add another text file again. Let's call this one 2. Say hello world. So we have two files. Then we have 3 files now in our folder. We're just adding them so we can use them to play around. So the next thing to do is to make sure that these folders are being tracked. So how do we do that? We are going to add it. So the command there is git add. So if you put a dot, it will add all the files it finds in that folder. But we should be careful. We can only do that when we are sure that we want to add everything. You know, you may have some large files, some unwanted things that you don't want to add, you don't want to track. So it's safer to either put the files you know you need in the folder, Or you can actually get, let's assume we want to only track all the text files. So you can use this command. So this will add every file that ends with, that has the extension txt. And if it's just one or two files, you can actually add them individually. A space in between the two names, and you can add them. So let's say we want to add just the two text files. So we can run this command. Okay, let's check the status again. So you can see it has changed. Now we have, it's saying no commit yet, but we have two files that have been added that needs to be committed. And we have one that is on track. So we've not done anything with the SQL file, it's still as it is. So let's commit. So it commits, that's the command. And as I said, it's always good to add comments. Okay. So because this is our first commit, you can just say initial commit. So initial commit added text files. So it's also good to have short and precise comments that once somebody else reads it, they really understand what we're talking about. So it says two files change, two insertions. So we have those two files have been committed for us now. So let's assume that we want to make a change to, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to open SQL. I'll share my screen. To share my screen. Add SQL so that we can see how it works. So trying to open SQL. Okay. I'm going to bring it here. Share it again. Okay, so we have SQL here now, and we have that file, that the SQL file that we created, get customers, and we have select staff from sales. So if we execute this file now, you can see that we have all the customers. So let's also commit that file, and let's say git add. If we say add dot to, so status, we have a new file. You see it's in green. We have a new file. This has not been committed yet. So let's commit it. Let's commit command again. So let's change the comments we have there. We have added SQL script for customers data. So we have that now. So let's assume your boss comes and sees this script and said, I don't like this script. I don't want to use select star. I want to use the names, individual names of each column. I have it somewhere already, so I'll just copy it. And somewhere. Okay, so we are messing around with that file now. I want to show us something after I finish messing around with it. Okay, now your boss says, I want to see the names of each column. I don't want to use select star. So we've done this now, right? And we save it. Let's go back and see if we see Git status. Can we see that? It has identified that we have made a change to that file. And it's saying the changes are not committed, are not staged for commit. So what do we do again? We add again, and then we commit again. So we'll put a different comment this time around. We say added column names as requested by HOD. Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay, so let's see Git status. So we have nothing to commit. Everything has been committed. I hope we're able to see how Git status tells us the status of every file we have in our working folder and what we need to do on those files and all that. And we're able to see how we could commit a file and the message we got after doing the committing.
Excuse me, please.
Yeah.
I couldn't create a file. Select from sales.customers. I got the error bash syntax error near unexpected token from.
Okay. I can't see your screen actually, so I can't really relate. If I don't know if there's a chat window, maybe you can drop it.
Please, it's not going. The chat is not enabled for me.
Okay, so what do you say the error is again, please? One more time. Okay.
Bash syntax error near unexpected token from. At the point of doing select from sales.customers.
Okay, so you wrote echo select blah blah blah, right?
Yeah, okay. I have to write echo. I think that's what the problem is.
Okay. Let me just bring it. Okay. Okay, so let's just play around again with some of these files that we have here. Let me open this and just type in one or two things and save. And also this guy, save. So let's do Git status again. Sorry. So you can see it's saying we have modified these two files. So there's another command, git status dash s, shortened version for it. Can we see this? Hello.
Did the highlighted stuff?
Yes, the highlighted section. So we use a new command now. It's git status dash s. So it's a shortened version of. Let me add another file to so be able to explain it better. I want to add an Excel file. So it's a test. Run it again. So you can see we have 3 files. But the first two says MM, the last one has a double question mark. This is a shortened way of knowing the status of your file. Now, what does it mean? Let me start from the bottom. It has 2 columns, the left and the right column, and it has question mark on both sides. It means that, sorry, the left side, the left hand represents the staging area, while the right side represents your working directory. So why are there two question mark on that test dot? It's telling us that this file is not in your staging area yet. You've not added it, you've not committed it or whatsoever. I don't know this file. And also in your working directory, it's just there. You've not done anything to it. So the other one, the doc.txt and the doc2.txt, you can see that the left hand side is empty. The right hand side has M in red. So it's telling us that you have modified this file in your working directory, but it's not yet, you've not yet staged it. So let's add one of them to, let's add one of them. Let's add doc2.txt and let's see what status will look like. So now the status has changed for doc2. Is now telling us that it's now green. That okay, you have modified it and it's now in your staging area. But it's modified. It's not been committed yet. It's in your staging area, but it's modified. The first one is modified in your working directory, but it's not in the staging area. And the last one is saying neither is it in your staging area, neither has it been committed. It's just there in your working directory. So let's add everything and let's see the status again. So now you see that everything has changed. Everything has changed. They are all in the staging area. The first two are modified. Yes, we modified them. I added some text in between them. But the last one is the fresh file. So it's just saying A, that just been added. Nothing has happened on it. So let's commit. Now I'll commit. So the comment we put there will just be like modified 2 files and added 1 file. So that is that. So the next command we'll be looking at is all these changes that we've been making. How do we even see them? We've committed a lot of things in this short while. How do we see them? So git log. If you say git log, it's not very, it's just somehow, it's very difficult to read. So you add an additional 1 line to it, and it will give us in a better way. So what is it saying here? Remember we mentioned when we're talking about the concepts, keywords, we mentioned master. So master is always your default branch, and the head is the most recent change that was made. And the most recent change that we made was to add 2 files, and we added another. We modified 2 files and added 1 file. So let's assume that you want to even see this. Somebody is reviewing change and say, okay, let me even see. Somebody said the HOD asked them to add columns. Let me see what is even there. So I can actually copy this and put the command called git show. If you say git show, you just type in the name, the unique ID of that particular history that you want to see. So you can see what we have here. You can see the one in red. That's what we had before. Are we following? Please, I just want to hear feedback. Are we following?
Yes.
Okay. So we had select star from sales. That's what we had there before. But before the HOD now asked us to add the field names. So what we have there now is the one in green, and what we had before is the one in red. So this can actually tell us what we had before and what we had now. And we can actually go back. If the HOD decides now that I want you to go back to that select star, I don't want this anymore, you can actually go back. I will show you how you can do that. You can actually go back and say we want to go back to that particular history and continue our work from there. So with this, you can actually check what you have here. Let's say git show. So I modified what I had in doc.txt, which I had hello, everything on data before. I changed it to, I added some question mark to it. And for the second one, I added some exclamation mark to it. And then the third one, we added a new file called test.xls. So you can actually go and check what we have done in the past and actually review what we have in the past. So we have our SQL opened. We have the script that we wrote earlier. So let's say that the HOD is asking us to go back. So the HOD asks us to go back in time and maybe go back to the previous script that was there before. Let's work with that script. I don't want us to use what we have now. I want us to go back. We can actually go back and say added SQL script. This is what we want to go back to. Let's see. I want to go back to this history. So we can come down here and say git checkout. This works. Okay, so switching to blah 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 blah. So you can see SQL is saying the file has been changed externally. So if we accept the change, you can see that that file has gone back to how it was before. Did anybody see that? Hello.
Okay,
Hello, no
on
feedback.
the SQL portal. Yeah.
Yes. So we have gone back to where we came from. So somebody else comes in and say, I want you to take this file back to the version that has the column headers. So you go to your history. You know that at this particular point, you added the column header. So you just copy that marker and then you write another. You want to check out this guy and you say enter. So if you go back to our SQL, you see that it's telling us that the file has been changed externally. So let's accept. You can see that it has gone back with the one that has the column headers. So this is how we can go from the present to the past and the past back to the future. So we have one file, but we have different versions of it, but it's just one file. We didn't have to store different copies of this SQL command. Just one file, but Git has given us different versions of it, and you can actually switch to any version we want to switch to. So let's assume that you're now asked as a data analyst that, okay, we don't just want the list of customers. Can you also add the number of orders that each customer has made? I think that's a good way to know your loyal customers. So, and we learned SQL last week. So I want to assume that we are all SQL experts after last week's class. So we'll have to write, I think I have it written down already. So we'll just copy it. This is an SQL class actually, it's just to explain to us what we can do as data analysts, whatever we are doing in our various, how we can utilize the power of Git to make our work more efficient. So this is another script that has the number of orders made by each customer. So you can see we have customers that have made, most of them have made 3 orders. We have 2 orders here. I think we have some that have made 1. I don't think we have any customer that hasn't placed an order at all. So all our customers, 1,445 rows, all our customers actually placed orders. So this will tell us our very loyal customers, and we can actually use this as well to get in touch with those guys that have only come once and ask them, why have you not come back? So we have saved the file. And we'll go back to Git and we'll do Git status again. And it's telling us that local, we have modified this file. So we need to go back to the master. Let's go back to the master. Is this? Yes, it should. Okay. So let's do Git status again. Okay, we still have that one file modified. So let's add that file and let's commit it. So on this commit, we'll add added additional column for number of orders. Let's see. Okay. So if we decide to check one of the files, one of the history, let's check this guy. So you can see it's quite long. So it's just showing us the path that we added. So we added, you know, on this line where we had streets, city, states, zip code, we modified that line and added, I don't know if you can see, we added this tweet. And then we also added this to get the number of orders. So, I mean, with what we have learned to this point, you can see how we can check history. So we also mentioned branch. So if we run another called branch, and I said branch is a way for you to store some changes that you don't want to put in your master. So this is the branch. So I only have one branch, which is the master branch. I can create a new branch. It's very easy. You can say create new. Sorry. Create branch. And I call the branch new feature. So if you check our, so we have two branches now. But the master branch is our default branch. You can see the star on it. And we can actually switch and we can delete branches. So let's say we want to delete this new feature that we just created. So we can say git branch -d and we specify the name of the feature. So as I said, the branch. If we check our branches, it's no longer there. And we can as well clone. So I will go back here. I have a folder called GitHub training. I think I have this. I think I have some. So let's say we want to clone this test. Okay, I want to clone it into our working folder. So I'll just go back one step. So into our working folder, I will say git clone. I'll put the path to what I want to clone. So I want to clone that test into our working folder. So let's go back to our working folder, which is GitHub. This is our working folder. So let's run this command. So you can see we have test has come into our working folder with everything. So we have cloned it. We've taken it from where it is. We've taken a copy from where it is into our own folder. So you can have a file stored somewhere on the server in your office. You can use this command actually to clone those files onto your own system and do what you want to do. And it's quite fast, faster than you actually doing all those copying and pasting stuff. So it's a good way to copy stuff that you want to work with. So before we go into GitHub, looking at GitHub, I don't know if I have any question actually. So this is our working folder. We're going to move this folder into GitHub, and then we can quickly write some details about what we did using Markdown. Before I go ahead, I don't know if we have any, maybe one or two questions before I proceed. I'm going to bring up my sample GitHub account and have it by the side here as well. I hope you are following. This one at the class is so quiet.
You know, it's a whole lot to download.
I understand.
That's what people are
I understand. I understand. But you know, like we learned last week. Last week was just an introduction to SQL, and there's still more to learn. So we have to put some extra attention to extra time to it. So I'll share links, I'll share documents, all these commands that I'm writing. I'll share PDF files that will have them properly explained better than what I've done, and you can actually use that, fall back to that at any time. I will share my screen one more time.
I'm lost.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm lost. I don't know. I understand SQL query and all that, but you see this GitHub is a whole lot of new process for me, and maybe because I joined the class late, so it's more like you're doing a lot of magic on this screen, and I don't even know where to even start from.
Okay, so the video will be shared, and I will also share some materials. And I think if you have, so that will really help. So, okay, guys, let's go to GitHub. I'm sure we've all created our GitHub account, and we have our personal GitHub token set. So I'll just try to copy my own out. I don't know. I always have this issue. I'll generate a new one. Okay. So I don't want my token to expire at all. I don't want problem at all. I don't want to keep on generating new ones. So I have to generate a new one. You have to give it a name. You have to give it a name. Teach them. So I have it. I'll just copy it and save it somewhere so that I don't have to do this again. Why are we doing this? Because for security purposes, you need to secure your GitHub repository so that people don't push all sort of junks into your account and all that. So we're going to create a repository where we'll push what we are working on into and make it public. So let's say create a new one. So let's give it a name. Let's say demo. Let's give the description. So this is a repo that has all my codes. So this is where I said you can make it public. So it is public. Anyone on the internet can see this repo. So when you are doing your office work and you are using GitHub, please don't make it public. Okay, so that sensitive information don't go out to the public. So because this is just we doing a demo and there's nothing so sensitive about the data we are pushing, you can actually make it public. So if you are doing something that you want to share with people, you can make it public. But things that are private, intellectual properties, you don't, even it could be your own personal stuff, but you don't want to share it. You are working on a solution that you want to make money from. You don't have to share it. So we are going to make this public. So there's a file called README file. This is where you can write a long description. This is what I was talking about. You can write a long description for your project. Or there we have Git ignore. I didn't talk about this, but there's what we call Git ignore. Don't bother yourself too much about it, actually. I'm sure you read it as time goes on. So if you don't want some particular files or folders to be pushed to be committed or to be pushed to your GitHub repository, you can actually add a git ignore file and write those files or folders you don't want to be tracked. Let me just use the word tracked. So those files will not be tracked by Git at all. They'll be ignored. They are there in your working folder. They will not be tracked. So as an example as well, you can put those sensitive things in those folders and say Git should ignore them, just in case you mistakenly use a command for pushing everything, committing everything. So Git will ignore those folders and files that you stated in that Git ignore file that you should not. So Git will. So let's just add a README file, which is good for us to add because we'll need to tell the people that come to our page what we are doing. Don't just upload code and say you make it public. You need to explain that, okay, this is what it's doing. And then we create the repository. You can see what it's saying here. This will set master as the default branch. So let's go ahead and create it. So these are our README file. So you can actually just edit, just say, let's just change this to say, let's say GitHub, Git and GitHub introduction class. Then you have to go down, and there's, you can see commit changes similar to what we are doing before. So you have to put a comment as well. Say I created my first README notes. So you can commit directly, or you can commit to a new branch. Let's just commit directly. So commit. Okay, so your GitHub demo repository is still blank. There's really nothing there. Let me open it a little bit more for us to see. There's really nothing there. It's just the README file, the only thing we have there. But we want to move those things that we have in this our working folder into it. So we'll go here and there's this tab here, code. We'll click on it. You can see an address. So this is the address of our GitHub repository. So if you want to clone, if somebody wants to clone this repository, this is the address they will use. If you want to push the repository, this is the address you will use. So just copy it. So this icon by the side is copy. So copy it, and I'll save it somewhere on my system so that I have to come back here again. And then it's now time for us to push what we have into GitHub. So there's a command, but before we do that, we need to tell our local computer Git that, okay, there's a repository that has been created somewhere, and I want you to get connected to that repository. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So we have created the repository somewhere on GitHub, but our machine does not know that repository. So the first thing we need to do is to tell our machine that, okay, there's a repository somewhere in the cloud that I want you to get yourself familiarized with, so that anything I'm doing here, when I say push, you push it to that place. I don't need to tell you where to push it to. I will tell you once. Next time I say push, you know what to do. So there's a command for that as well. So that command is git remote add origin. So I need to put that, I need to get that address I copied earlier. Let's see. And put that address there. So I'm telling Git to add this address to this my folder, and I say enter. So let me just go and open something here. I'm sure we'll see something. Let me share it again so I can see this. Is that magic? So I just opened that Git folder, that .git folder that I said we should not touch. So please, let's not touch it. I just wanted to show you something. and I opened a file they call config. So you can see here, immediately I ran this last command, it has updated this folder and put it here that, okay, this is where you should be talking to. I didn't type this. Immediately I ran this command, this last command, it updated this file and put this here that, okay, this is the repository that is tied to this guy. So whenever you say push, this is where you push it to. Okay, so let's close it. Let's begin. So that is that. So the next thing we need to do now is to push our work. But we have to make sure everything is up to date. So we say git status. So we have some things that we have. The folder that we brought in, we've not added it. It's not yet tracked. And we've made some changes and not yet tracked. So let's just use this command and okay. Let's see this status. Okay. It's the final commit. So git status now. So everything is fine. Okay. So the next thing that we have to do now is to push all our work. All the work we've been doing, so we need to push everything into our GitHub. And there's a command for that as well. Come into them. I'm just trying to get my system here. Okay. So we get git push. Okay. Master. So we are pushing to master. So you see, it's asking for my username. Okay. Username is T. Okay. Dev. Asking for password. Actually, when it's asking for password, it's that personal token that it actually needs. So I'm going to copy that personal token that we generated earlier. I'll just paste it there and press enter. So there are some errors. So if you read properly, it will say updates were rejected because the remote contains work that you do not have locally. So remember, we have a file here called readme file, and we don't have that file in our local system. So it wants us to first be on the same page with the remote before we push to the remote, so that we don't have orphan files. You have one file here, you don't have one file somewhere. So we need to be on the same page with it. So one of the ways we do that is to pull. So just to change this push to pull. So if we check that folder again, let's see. Where is that folder again? Did I close it? I must have closed it. Projects, GitHub. Okay. I'm just reading. But we have an error. We have an error somewhere saying refusing to merge unrelated histories. Honestly, some of these errors come up and you don't know how they came about. So there's something called rebase. So rebase helps to when there are issues like this that what you have locally and what you have in the remote are not aligning, we can actually use rebase. So see if we can pull master rebase. Let's see if this will help. Sometimes it says for this command we need to use may, I think. Now we're having an error. Okay, command is not complete. Pull. So it's not complete. I need to put pull origin. Yeah, master rebase. Okay, successfully rebased and updated. Okay, let's try and pull again. Let's try and pull again. Let's see. Okay, so if you let me reshare again. So you need to see what happened. So if you look at our working folder, we have a README file that we not create. So that came from what we pulled just now. And if we open it, we'll see that we have this is a repo that has all my learning code, what we wrote. So you can see that we have a README file that was put. So now let's try and push again. Push the master T J. Let me get this code. Sorry, really past the time. I'm rounding up now. So I'll paste. Sure. So I think we have successfully moved. So let's go back to our GitHub and let's refresh it. Should have those things. Okay, that's good. So we have our GitHub and we have what we've been working on in our system. We have them here now. We have our SQL queries and we have the other folder as well. Try to see the contents. Okay. So I think he moved the folder. Fine. So let's go back to. Let's do this push. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, just trying to resolve this quickly. I don't know why this is not coming out the way it should come out. Okay, fine. Let's see. We're having slight issues with our commits and Patriots. Got committed the 3 items, but I don't think it committed the contents of the folders properly. So what do we do now? Okay. Let's quickly see if we can push this one again. Let's see. So, but let me see if we can. Let's see. Let's see if we can use another way to add our files. Let's see. Okay, let's see if we can add them manually. Added files using GitHub. Yes. Okay. So this other way we can add files. So the way I taught you was from the computer, from your local machine, you can actually push. So I don't know what happened there, but I will work on it and send like a sample description to the group so that people can complete that task. But just to save time, I had to use the other way. So you can actually add files using your GitHub. You don't have to always use the command line. So let's us quickly do some how would I call it now? Let's quickly work on our README file so that we can have so there's a language called markdown syntax. So that's what we use to edit our README file so that it will be a little bit presentable. So the single hash tag here will give you a very big header, like what you can see here. So but we want it to be a bit smaller, so we use double hash. You can see it's a bit smaller now. Then on the second line, we want to put a space there. I want to write an about. I want to tell people about our.
I don't know.
I want to tell them about our page. Our page is doing. Say, my name is data. And this is my first class on Git and GitHub. Okay. GitHub. So let's put triple, can say table of contents. And then dash. So you put this about. I'll share a link where you have all these syntaxes. Because of time, I'm actually rushing now. So what I'm doing now is that I'm creating a kind of directory for people to be able description. I'll tell people about my my page. So this is how it comes out. So I want to say we have some files on our let me see, I have a file called SQL script. You can say view my script. Forgotten what name we used to save it. Let me just go back and see. We have to commit this as well. Let's go back and see. So the SQL script is this. Just I can say review my code base, and below then save it. I need to get this. Okay, syntax error here. Okay, and I want to also reference my Excel workbook. So let's create. It's coming out well, but there's an error here. Okay, let's see again. Let's preview it. And then another break line here. Okay, so commit this change and quickly get the address to the Excel file. Okay, let's connect it. So I will not want to go too deep. So this is your GitHub demo repository. So imagine you share this with somebody and the person comes here and the person sees all this bunch of files. So below here you have an explanation. My name is Everything on Data, and this is my Git and my Git and GitHub. My Git and GitHub repository. So table of contents, about, if you click on about, it just takes you to this about. So it could be a very long line of statements. So let me just do that quickly. Let's see if I say I paste a lot of this. And I commit. So, when you have a long page like this and you say about, it will take you to the about section. And then you have, okay, you're telling them view my code base. So you have a script for SQL for customer details. So if you click on it, it should take you to your SQL script that you have. You go back and click on the Excel workbook. It takes you to the Excel workbooks. So this is how you beautify your page to describe what you are doing. I'm sorry we didn't have enough time. I even overshoot my time to explain more, but it's the introduction class. I'm sure there'll be more on this, and I will share some materials that will assist us in doing more. I hope we're all able to follow. The recording will be shared and all that. I would like to just round up on my, so I will send this link to everyone. I will also share these tips and some other documents, and then let's receive one or two questions, and then let's call it a day. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I hope I was able to pass across one or two things. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Olatunji.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tunji. Okay, thank you, Tunji. I know people are still digesting the whole thing, but really, the video will be made available. Let's practice as much as possible. Let's try any project we've done so far, maybe on Python or anything that we've done so far. We can just push it in there into our profile just to create an understanding of what we've done. So, Tunji, okay, thank you very much. I'll be expecting the other document I will share with everyone regarding to give people more insight as to how to create your profile and everything regarding this course.
I'll send them to you.
Okay. Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining in and staying till now. Our next training will be on the 27th. That's we're taking 1 week break because we had one last week and 27th. This one we'll be using is still a continuation, but not really the code type of GitHub. It's like creating a personal website where you host your project. This time it could be your personal website that is free, hosted on GitHub. So, or what we call GitHub page. This is where you host your Python project and things like that for your project. I think there's a sample of what we've done so far. But for time, we'll press of time. So we'll just show you, we'll send you a link just to see what it looks like in preparation for the training. So you create your project file, you upload your code. Not necessarily code, just talk about your project, your analysis. Like Mr. Chukudi now, you can upload it as part of your project. You can upload your HR analytics as part of your project, put your dashboard up there, your discovery, your analysis, just to tell how you approach projects and how you clean your data and the likes. You can put it there. They'll form part of your project on the personal website, which you can share also as a portfolio. So thank you all for joining. And we hope to see you next 2 weeks. Yes, 2 weeks. So once again, thank you, Tuji, for this time out. This is intensive, really. Well, thank you so much. Chidiogo, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Anything? So
Okay.
before we can round up.
I don't really have. I think you've said it all. I don't have much to say. Thank you very much, Tunji. Thank you, everyone, for participating today. It was a very interesting session, very, very deep and incited. And I hope to build from here, from everything I've learned today, or when he shares the file. I hope that the next time we're going to have this class, we're going to be going back to back with him, because they must have been fully equipped with all the knowledge. Thank you once more.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Great. Have a good rest week ahead. Bye.
Okay.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.